What's happening, MJ traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. It's Saturday, January 13th. We're having a fantastic weekend so far. In this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update for period January 6th to the 12th. Go over all of the most important news pieces, and then not to go into deep dive detail, just a high level overview. And if you want to dig into it more in your own time, you can do so. But I try to keep these around 10 to 15 minutes in length. Today's video might go a little bit longer than that because there was a ton of information and news that dropped last week. And it was an exciting week overall, so I'm excited to get to it. Before we do, though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, you can give us a follow over on X, which is formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. And anything that I mention in this video, or any video for that matter, is not financial advice. It's for entertainment and informational purposes only. I wanted to start off this news update with this article here. 2 men charged in fatal shooting of California police officer during an MJ dispensary burglary. And I want to express my condolences to the fallen officer and their family, his family. It's awful to see. CA officer, you can see here, Tuan Lee, was the first Oakland police officer killed in nearly 15 years in, well, not California, but I think it's just Oakland. But definitely heart goes out to the fallen officer. And I posted about this as it's another reason why we can almost blame the lawmakers for this, because they're just not able to get anything passed, and not having the MJ sector in the traditional financial system and operating as cash businesses. This is super dangerous, not only for the the employees working there and the staff and anybody like customers in there as well. If a robbery happens, right, the customers are at risk, but also our law enforcement officers, right? And this is just not good. And another reason why we need to get with the 21st century and bring this amazing industry of medicine of the future into the traditional financial system, right? So another example of why we need to contact our elected representatives and people in office to let them know that we want reform, we want change, and we want safer banking. We want the MJ industry to participate and, be able to accept credit cards and things like that, right? Where it's not all cash and, very attractive to burglaries and such. So this is brutal news, and hopefully this will motivate lawmakers to get something done, because we don't want this to happen in the future to anybody, right? Canada destroyed 3.7 million pounds of unsold, unpackaged cannabis since 2008. And there was also a High Times article. Where did it go? Here it is. So I put it at the end, but I wanted to mention that because they touched on it as well. They disposed of 3.7 million pounds in Canada of cannabis since 2018 because of oversupply. It's been a real issue in the cannabis industry. Solutions, anyone? So I would say the solution is, people or companies at the beginning they overanalyzed what was actually going to be needed, right, for projections and things like that. Plus, they didn't know how well they were going to curb the illicit market and eat into that, black market, right? So obviously the black market continued to thrive because of the ridiculous regulations that the government here in Canada has put on that, on the industry to start off, right? Like we didn't even have edibles for the first year, right? So they took a very, very slow approach to rolling this out, and that helped the black market thrive, but we're really putting a dent in it. So I think that is really starting to help, and companies are starting to cut back their production capacity, right, to more realistic levels. But not only that, Germany is going to be coming online soon, so that's going to be a huge solution, right? And then eventually, if we can export to other countries, maybe even the United States in the next few years, who knows? That's obviously going to be a massive solution. And then even more reform here in Canada, where we get improved regulations and marketing and taxation and all that stuff that's going to help drive people to the legal market rather than the black market, right? And this is all going to be good for the industry. So those are a few solutions that I can just think off in the top of my head. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, but if you have any other suggestions, drop a comment below. Also, Nevada MJ consumption lounges could soon become industry's new frontier, former top regulator says. I 100% agree. We're starting to see this more and more in all different states, and then even in Canada. I did a video, CBD CBN is a new restaurant here, basically promoting research of MJ, and you can go and you can eat an MJ meal, an MJ infused meal. So I think we're going to see tons of this, right? We're going to see, to quote Erwin Simon, CEO of Tilray, we're going to see it in bars and on draft at a bar or something like that, right? It's going to be at events where you go to sporting events and you're able to purchase cannabis-infused beverages, right? So this is definitely a new frontier, and definitely can see consumption lounges being a big thing as well. People are dry January or whatever. They don't really want to go to a bar because they're tempted to drink. But if they had drink alcohol, that is, if they had an MJ option, maybe that might increase that social aspect, and people aren't just staying home all the time because they don't want to fight the temptation, right? But I 100% agree that's going to be and it's exciting. I can't wait to see all these lounges around and restaurants, etc. Also, DeSantis says he would respect the decisions that states make on MJ legalization despite personal opposition. Well, I've been saying for a while now, these people work for the people, right? These lawmakers and elected officials, they work for the people. So if the people in the state vote on something, well then, yeah, I don't care what your personal position is on this, if you're opposed or for it. If the majority want it, then you listen to the people. Like, it's not that simple. I don't know what has gotten in these people's minds, but I think they have legitimately forgotten that they work for the people, right? They just get their ego and their pride gets in the way, and most of them are narcissists. And, you're there because we elected you. The people elected you. Any elected official, whether it be Canada, the US, or abroad, you were in power. If it's a democracy, you were put in power by the people. You work for the people. You give the people what they want. End of story. And the majority of people want it. So enough with the nonsense. Hawaii Attorney General sends MJ legalization bill to lawmakers, but says she does not support it. So again, doesn't support it, but not blocking it or talking bad about it from what I can see, because the people want it. So give the people what they want. Also, Curaleaf expands zero proof brand portfolio with launch of stir fast acting THC beverage mix. So this is going to be interesting as well, with Germany coming online. Curaleaf going to be a major player there and beneficiary of that market. And I am super bullish on Curaleaf long term. It's my second biggest MJ holding in my MJ portfolio. Check out my entire MJ portfolio with percentage breakdown if you want to see that, or my top 5 MJ video. That was 2023. I'm going to get a new one out soon in 2024 once I'm pretty much done adding to my new TFSA contribution room of $7,000 as a Canadian. My tax-free savings account, we got an extra $7,000. So mine was maxed out. So I was just, foaming at the mouth, ready to add that. And I've since contributed about 80% of that room. So still got about 20-25% of that room left. And like I said, after that it's done, I'll probably make another MJ holding portfolio video for 2024. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see that in the future. Also, BZAM completes acquisition of Final Bell's Canadian operation, adding Final Bell Holdings International as strategic shareholder. Also, Cannabis MSO Forefront Ventures converts debt to equity and appoints a new CEO. Also, Tilray Brands delivered record Q2 fiscal 2024 net revenue, so they had record revenue for the quarter. But I did a video on this, so I'm not going to dive into deep dive details, but essentially we had a nice reaction. We were up like 9%, almost 10% at one point at the open, and then it ended up being a double top at 252 resistance. We had 254 and then pulled back under $2. I think it was an overreaction. I did a video just about that topic exactly. And then I also live streamed the conference call and gave my thoughts and opinions at the end. So you can check out those videos for more details. But I do think it was an overreaction. And overall, I think it's pretty positive and they're trending in the right direction. And they did talk about potentially acquiring a company in the US for medical purposes, if that were, permissible. So, and we know they have convertible debt into MedMen as well. But obviously getting a lot of their results were from their beverage component, so the craft beer and beverage category wasn't really from MJ. But again, I think that overall it's trending in the right direction, and we're going to see improvements to excise taxes here in Canada, and we're going to see potential for edibles going from 10 milligrams to 100 milligrams. So there's a lot of good things coming, and I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think they're going to really turn it around, and then with, like I said, with Germany coming online, Tilray is going to absolutely dominate that market, in my opinion. Also, troubled cannabis company Canopy Growth raised $30 million. So there was dilution, and that was 7 million units at $4.29 USD. And this came out right at the same time as Tilray earnings. So definitely overshadowed that. So I think that added more bear pressure as well to the overreaction of Tilray. If this didn't come out, I don't think we would have seen the reaction. And it kind of, in my opinion, like I mentioned in my previous videos of the Tilray earnings review, I think that this kind of sparked some worry with Tilray investors, right? Because they're thinking, oh, well, what if we get another round of dilution in Tilray, right? Which could possibly be the case, right? Don't rule that out, because if a company's not profitable, either they can do non-dilutive, financing, they can get some sort of debt with a high interest rate at the current, economic rates and economic situation that we're at the moment. So, there's non-dilutive, but, at the end of the day, companies that are trying to get by until they're profitable may need to dilute. So that is something that could happen with Tilray. We need to be we need to be aware of that and plan for that. And, not just financially, but emotionally as well. Also, Cronos enters Australian cannabis market. This came out at the same time pretty much as well as the Canopy dilution and Tilray earnings. But again, overshadowed by the market weakness, and the S&P 500 was a little jittery there for a little while as well when the earnings come out. So it just wasn't the greatest timing overall. Also, medical marijuana is similarly effective as opioids for treating pain, but with fewer adverse events, study finds. Imagine that. I would never have guessed. But yeah, obviously medicine of the future, just another example, and there continues to be more clinical trials and research and studies done, and we continue to see more and more breakthroughs, and there's actually some more information with regards to that, the medical aspect here in just a moment. But medicine in the future, the world is finally waking up. West Virginia Senate President says marijuana could be legalized to help curb fentanyl epidemic sooner than later. Again, more over on the point that this is medicine of the future and a great substitute for opioids, right? And fighting, a mass epidemic that is going on right now, killing, and ruining the lives of people and their families. So it's time to get with the program, folks. States have expunged over 2.3 million MJ records since 2018, normal report shows, which is great to see. Also, cannabis holds potential to prevent and reduce severity of COVID-19 while treating long-term symptoms, study finds. Wow, again, more and more studies, more and more research, the more time that goes by, the more we realize that this truly is a phenomenal, a breakthrough plant in medicine, and it's going to continue to just stun scientists, in my opinion. Like, I don't even think, again, there's so many different cannabinoids and components to the plant, and most of them we still don't understand yet. And once we get rescheduling and all this reform in the US and around the world, right, there's still some countries that offer the death penalty just for simple possession. So once we start to see the rest of the world reform and follow through with accepting it and getting rid of stigma and allowing rescheduling and things like that, and more research will be done, right? And we're just going to continue to find more and more breakthroughs, right? So this is an exciting time. New Washington, D.C. legislation targets unlicensed cannabis shops. So this is a big thing in New York and just pretty much everywhere. I hear there's a ton in Toronto as well, but I think the biggest is New York, and a lot of times people go in there and they don't even know it's an unlicensed MJ shop. They're selling legit products, Jungle Boys and all this stuff. And they're seeing legit products, but it's, it looks like it's a real shop, but it's actually unlicensed, right? So you don't really know what you're getting. And I think this is going to be a big thing now that MSOs are starting to enter the state, which we got some information on that in just a moment. These legal companies are entering the space. There's no way they're going to allow, right? They're going to lobby. You're going to see all kinds of lobbying going on, and you're going to see all kinds of, chatter in Washington, D.C. and in lawmakers, right? Because the lawmakers are just not going to let this happen, in my opinion. There's no way they're going to let them run free, in my opinion. Also, Czech Republic published new draft regulations for cannabis program. The draft was referred to as a compromise version for now, but legislators plan to push for more important regulations. And again, we're just seeing this more and more countries, more and more states, and more companies, even like Apple and Amazon backing federal reform, and Uber. So there's tons of reasons to say that this time is different. And again, game theory just continues to play out. Dominoes falling. It's a matter of when, not if. High Tide to announce fourth quarter and full fiscal year 2023 financial results. I am excited for this one. This will be on Monday, January 29th after market close. So I'm looking very forward to this. I'm a shareholder in High Tide, very big shareholder, and very, very bullish on this company long term. Full disclosure and transparency. But yeah, I'll definitely be covering those earnings as well. Also, Trulieve announces appointment of Mary Zhang, I think that's how you pronounce it, as Chief Operating Officer. So let's hope she's not as bad as the previous CFO, who wrongly expensed over like $300,000 worth of expenses. Shady to say the least, but yeah, hopefully better times ahead for Trulieve officers. Also, congressional resolution urges equity in legal MJ markets and pushes Biden to advocate for global cannabis reform at the UN. So again, we're just seeing, it seems like every time you turn around, you see another article about, world leaders or the U.S. And I think that Canada is going to really start to support this industry a lot more as well, and going to see major benefits of easing of regulations and things like that with regards to marketing, labeling, distribution, and limits with regards to milligrams for edibles, and taxation, right? High excise taxes. So again, I think this is really MJ's moment and time to shine, right? I think the next couple of years are going to be MJ's year. Also, Maine sells more than 200 million of cannabis in 2023, and then Illinois adult use MJ sales exceeded 1.6 billion in 2023. Wow, another huge market, but I still think that Florida is going to be the biggest with millions and millions and millions of tourists every year, and just a very, very popular state at the moment, like in terms of population growth, and a desirable place to live, and just the community there is so vibrant, right? Their medical community or market, and then their MJ community is just unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost like Alberta of Canada, right? I think if we had as many people in Alberta as Ontario, I think we'd be the biggest. But still, though, we're giving them a run for their money. But the MJ industry here and community in Alberta is insanely awesome. Like it's something to behold for sure. And I think that's going to be the case with Florida. And like I said, I think Florida has the potential to be the biggest state in the U.S. Also, Colorado monthly cannabis sales synced to nearly 7-year low in November. So obviously it's been legal there for a lot longer. So it's been on the downslope. But I think that's just because I was there. I did a video, a documentary basically of it. You can check that out. But essentially, the reason why I think this is going down is because their prices are way too high. And, once we start to see federal reform and things like that, and interstate commerce, and, when Canada can ship to the U.S. as well, Canadian companies, it's just only going to create, a fair, the price, it's going to create a price war essentially, but, the prices will come down, right? Supply and demand. But I think that's why. Also, state attorney generals urge DEA to reschedule MJ. I did a video on this as well. You can check that out. But again, this is great to see, right? More and more states, more and more, lawmakers or lawyers, attorneys, right, starting to basically push the DEA. And then, the more that we get on our side, right, on the pro side, it's just they can only kick the can down the road for so long, right? Also, in other news, Irwin Simon and a bunch of officers. So there was Carl Merton and what was his name? Gentle or whatever the general counsel was for Tilray, their lead attorney. They all added. I did a video on this as well. You can check that out for the exact details on that. But shout out to the YouTube member who corrected me. I think in that video I mentioned the wrong number. I was looking at the wrong column. The 2 million is actually the amount of securities they have reported and that they own. And then so Irwin Simon, the amount that was added here was 53,700. So about $100,000 worth of Tilray stock. But still, this was actually pretty ironic because they were on TDR podcast and he was interviewed, and everybody in the comments were just pretty cheesed. They were pretty bearish. They were pretty upset and frustrated and investor fatigue, and some of them were just outright angry. But most of the comments were, your salary is so high, and how come you're not buying any shares yourself, right? Not just the ones that are rewarded to you or through compensation, but actually buying it. And then came out with that the general counsel and the CFO and the CEO all buy. So this was interesting timing. Maybe they were trying to kind of earn back some of the investors' trust and putting their money where their mouth is. But either way, great to see, and check out the video that I did on that for my full thoughts on that. Also, Florida marijuana legalization ballot initiative has majority support, but not enough to pass. Chamber of Commerce polls finds. So this poll found that, but I did a video on this as well. Florida inching closer to 2024 ballot initiative for adult use MJ. I think it's going to happen. I think it's 80-90% chance it ends up on the ballot for 2024. And then I think about a 70% chance, 70-80% chance that it actually gets enacted into law in 2025. But let me know in the comments below if you agree with me, disagree with me. I always love hearing from you. Also, New York regulators greenlight 2 more MSOs. So we're going to see Green Thumb and Ianthus enter the New York recreational market. And I just did a video on this earlier today, so you can take a look at that video for full details on that and my thoughts and opinions. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on that as well, and any other articles. If there's anything you'd like to see more of on the channel as well, let me know. But what a jam-packed week, and that was just a touch. That was just like a few of the articles that were published last week. So basically, I go through and I cherry pick all the most important ones in my opinion, and that was like maybe like 5 or 10% of the MJ news that, and I can't possibly cover all MJ news, but the news that I do cover and we promote in Pow Group Private Community, I basically just go through all of the MJ news channel and I basically cherry pick all the major news events. And today I had a very hard time picking out the most important ones and had to leave out a lot, right? And yeah, it's crazy how much actually happens in the industry in just a run of a week. And imagine once we enter a new bull market and we start to see more M&A and Fortune 500 companies getting into the space as well. But all right, going to end it there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on the next video.